Is this meeting real or is it AI?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah, it's good old AI.
Right, I'm getting tired of it on doesn't matter what, social media or everything.
Well, you don't know anymore.
I know, everything you have to click, a lot of times I have to ask my kids, like, is this real? Is this not real? Like,
you want to know the weirdest line? AI now knows everything. There's nothing on the internet it doesn't know. It knows everything.
yeah, it wants to respond to everything. I think when I lose my own intelligence and I can't respond on my own, I'll call on you. But until then, I don't need you popping up.
Well, and AI is such a, like, with my mom's eulogy, my sister sent me a copy of her eulogy that she thought she could use. And so then I thought, well, I've used it for my speeches and I wordsmith it, right?
Yeah.
It is scary how all the information you give it and then what you get back from it is just bizarre, how accurate it is. And it's, yeah.
Well, I got a government issued check, like from the Alberta government.
Yeah.
Last Monday, I deposited it. Friday, I got a letter in the mail saying that it was a counterfeit check. And they withdrew the money from my bank account. So I went down to the bank, you know, what's going on? You know, saying, well, there's nothing we can do about it. That's the way it is. So I phoned, it was from an age. So I phoned Ace yesterday and spent probably 3 hours on the phone with them. They said, well, it's a legit check. Like it's, you know, with this, all this AI, like it'd be nothing to counterfeit a check.
That is unbelievable. That's how scary it actually
That
is.
is, yeah.
No, it's bizarre.
Well, and it just like muddling with your bank accounts. I hope mine gets richer.
Yeah.
It's doing anything. Maybe I
So
can AI. I need money.
The bank took the money back.
Wow, that
It
is
was a counterfeit check or was it
Well,
real?
that's as far as they're concerned. That's as far as they'll go with it. They won't do no more research or nothing on it. So.
But it's so, yeah, and it's,
how scary is
you know, you look at things.
Oh, I hope I'm gonna come in
money,
some milk.
Bank of Canada money orders, and they can be fake, and it's just,
You know, like,
It's so-
you think something from the government, you know, should be legit, and should be good, you know, and you're all.
anyway, we'll call to order at 8:32. Motion to accept, adopt the agenda as presented.
make that
Councilor Warwick, all in favor? Public presentations. It's your opportunity to shine, Martha.
No, not today.
Not today.
Table.
Okay. Public presentations, none. Delegation, none. CAO.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to write a report this time because I was just busy going to meetings. But one of the things, me and Thomas from Harvest Sky, we've had several meetings this week discussing that housing project that was began maybe before I started, where there was going to be 3 partners. So we had meetings with the school board about maybe they provide that land where the old school is that's vacant now. So they said they're willing to do that, but they want to have 2 resident homes for teachers there. So if there's any development, that's their goal. They want homes for teachers. So we talked to special areas and they're still interested in taking part of it too. So Thomas and I have a lot of groundwork to do. And then once we have more, we'll bring that back to council where we're up to. So yeah, I had several meetings on that. So I didn't get much time to write much else.
So.
Let's go.
You had your hand.
Yeah, no, go.
So what's the school division want in return for that land?
They have to take it to the province first, but they said it would be a very low to try to, you know, I know in other places they sell for like $1 or like $1,000, they sell it very cheap. So we'd have to see what they come up with, right? And then there's a value to that land. I think they said it was 115,000. I think they had to assess that. So I guess if they donate that, they'd want something back towards the building of the homes, right? They'd want that as their contribution to the 2 homes that they want. But we're very early days on figuring this out.
just for clarification though, right now, the town of Hanna is doing the maintenance on that property.
Yeah.
We are mowing, we're looking after the sidewalks, we're doing all the maintenance.
As far as I'm aware, we do it all, yeah.
And so that timeline has been going on for the last 3 years then, or 4 years, maybe longer.
Probably more than that.
Probably longer.
Yeah, that's worth discussing and pointing that out to them too.
Yeah.
I just think the equivalence of, the time put in and our energies and what has gone into that property probably is,
And we also had another request regarding where they bought that property where they keep the buses they keep there, yeah, and I guess it's been discussed before about water and sewer. So eventually that will make its way back here.
Yeah, they've never actually come back with any requests.
No,
We've had discussions and there's potential, but they've never. Not to us.
It'd be nice to see it on there, Don. I also, I have a question regarding, that project and stuff. Was there a decision then, or had it gone out to tenders for any of the, housing partners?
I think that's where it stalled previously, was when it was decided to go to tender for it, but so it was a good idea, but I think it just stalled there, and I think we can get it going. I think before the plan was to build big homes, and I think if we're going to chase for any kind of grant money, the only grant money that we're going to get is for affordable homes.
Yeah, where the shortage is basically.
Yeah, that's for Matthews.
Next step.
Yeah.
I was confirming that's where we were, but I wasn't quite sure.
Princesses on this.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Any other questions, Matthew?
Have we got a bylaw officer yet?
Starting February 3rd is when she'll start.
Who it is? Or?
Yeah, Chelsea Knievel.
Chelsea Knievel. She'd be 25-ish. She got her 911 training and everything and figured out that she didn't want, was that it is okay. Figured out that 911 wasn't her thing and she's bounced around a little bit, so I think she'll be good.
And so she's a former local that is returned home.
Yeah.
Nice.
Perfect.
Her parents.
And her parents live here, for sure.
Community.
Oh, yeah, well, I did that.
Business items. Mr. Matthew.
Okay. So I think you all know that AB Munis has asked me to present on some AI stuff at the upcoming conference. So I thought I'd give you guys, and you asked for it, a rundown of how we use AI. So I'll start with, because you probably all heard of ChatGPT, where you can go in there and just ask it questions and it will answer questions. But if you look on the screen there's one. We created this, it's called Time Vanna Resources. So we've trained this part of AI just on our bylaws and policies, but we've not put everything in yet because it's kind of time consuming. So all it knows, it doesn't know anything else other than the bylaws and policies that we fed it. So it would be a resource if we had a question specifically regarding the land use bylaw or dog license fees, or whatever information we feed it or our policies, that's all it will answer. It won't answer anything else on the internet because it doesn't know. It just knows our stuff. But it can only learn from readable PDFs, and a lot of our old bylaws and policies are in scanned PDFs, so we have to start converting them to readable PDFs so that it can read them and stuff. So if you had a question about, I can't remember which bylaws we put in there, but we definitely put like the animal and the land use bylaws. If you had a question, I could type it in and you could see how it works.
What other?
Okay, so
You want to live
hypothetically speaking, animal control, how many dogs can I have in town?
How close the solar facility can be to us.
It's not been learned that yet.
It only knows what is in the bylaw.
How about what pets require a license? Or animals, what animals require a license? I don't know. You're just saying no cats.
Guess it's not lying to you.
Not in her bylaws.
No, I know.
So I think this would be good, especially if all
Leave that
staff.
up for days. or
If people
all
had,
the day we're
if,
saying.
you know, if they come to the front desk and Bonnie's not fully up to speed with all our bylaws, you could just type it in and ask, right? So it says, how tall am I allowed to build a fence? It will answer that question for you. And the more we input into it, the more that it will learn.
I was gonna say, it's only as good as what we put in.
Yeah, and now it's only, I think there's like 5 bylaws that I found that it could read, so it's not got them all. Like, I think it's got one, I think an old fireworks bylaw, it was in there. What is it? So,
So how do we prevent it from picking up any other data, like all the other AI applications in the world?
so we had to create this one, and that's, if you scroll to.
In the settings, there's an option to block it from going out onto the internet, collecting random information.
Because when I first set it up, I was teaching it ourselves, but I left it open for it to search the web. So it was getting our stuff and mixing it up with others. So I turned that off. So now that's all it knows is.
Can we allow, like, can we block the whole internet except for our website, for example, or Alberta Municipal Affairs, and not that that's the best thing either, because those things can have inaccuracies.
It is, and I also put the MGA in it. So if you had a question about the MGA, you would ask. And it also quotes the section as well. So you don't have to go through your book all the time and find what you're looking for. This will.
That is a terribly consuming book.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I always use the PDF because I can search in the PDF, but this takes it to the next step, makes it easier to whatever you're looking for, like, you know, do you have an MGA question? You want the pressing MGA question?
Define conflict of interest.
Conflict or pecuniary.
Conflict, they're 2 different ones. Yeah.
It's like, what did I spell wrong?
It doesn't like the way you spell counselor.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how we spell
Yeah,
it.
because it's.
Still don't know what it is.
That you can ask it to dumb it down, basically, to summarize it.
So again, whatever we teach it, it's gonna know. And another good thing about ChatGPT is if you ever get attachments in an email and it's a PDF that's 20 pages long, you know, I don't want to read a 20-page long PDF. You can upload it to this and ask it to summarize it for you. It will provide a summary of the 20-page PDF that we've been sent.
Can you scan it into this, or it all?
Well,
has to
if
be
you look down
manually
here at the
entered?
bottom, see that little. It
Yeah.
says attach files. So you can attach files there,
Mhm.
and then whatever you attach, you can say.
You have to.
But you mentioned there's different types of
Yeah.
PDF files, Matthew.
Yeah, there's a scan like when you scan on a photocopier,
Yeah.
and it's just a picture of it. It won't read them. You have to, you know, like when you save a Word document to PDF, it will. Those are readable. So
Our new copier has that built in now, that when you scan it, it reads it.
Becomes readable.
Yeah.
But OCRs, which is the readable versions, not as good as this. It's questionable. Sometimes it doesn't keep all the words in. It misses words. It doesn't understand. So scans are tricky.
yeah, so it's better when you go from Word to PDF. It's better. So that's that one that we're teaching it. I think it'll be a good tool for all staff to use that, so that they have that information available.
So I have a question then, if all staff have access to it, who's actually just putting information into it? Is there only one source, one outlet, one person, or is it a conglomerate of people? Because I think that's where.
I think it would be how we set it up.
Yeah, I think it's me and you so far.
Yeah,
And then
But-
second, other people have access to use it, but they
Yeah.
can't put anything in,
Yeah.
they can only
Yeah.
retrieve.
We might be able
A
to.
read only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because like to do this demonstration, I had to set up a second account, not the account that I use, but I don't have access to change that. And a certain amount of resources, I can just view it and use it, but I can't edit, change it. So this one here, Notebook LM, if you've listened to the podcast, this is where we create the podcast from. So you can feed in information with Google Docs, Google Slides, a website, YouTube, or you can paste your own text in there. So I haven't done this one yet, where we use a website, but I'll try it.
Is there a disclosure too stating, like if you're getting it off of the internet, the source and such?
Yeah,
Because not everything on the internet is,
Yeah, well, when we upload these to YouTube, YouTube knows it's AI created, so it also puts that tag on.
okay,
But when Laurie writes a little thing, it says it's AI generated, so people are aware. So it's gathered what that information is on there. And then when you click generate, only takes like a minute or so. This is where so it's really easy to make the podcast. And what we do is we take like staff reports and any events that are coming up and we feed that into there, and then it creates that podcast of just a different option of keeping residents informed. And it's not overly time consuming because it's give it the information and make sure it's not made any mistakes, I guess. That's the biggest thing.
Well, and that's the thing with the AI in general. It's only as good as the information you provide to it. I know, like I said, I've used it for several speeches and stuff. You still have to do a lot of wordsmithing to Danny it down, as I like to call it.
I don't know. We took this chat box AI course at the last CF conference I was at. It was like a 4-hour teaching from a young man that was teaching it. But wow, like you can go it doesn't like I can tell it today, like I want to go to such and such a place. It will give me every detail from here to then to there, where I can stop, what I can do, what I can eat, what I can drink. And it was very accurate. It was almost scary how, I mean, you can use it for anything.
Yeah, and these are early days, like these are very early days.
No
of
one
what-
here has watched Terminator. Like, what do you?
Yeah, right?
But seriously, they're doing this because it's so exciting. And it's fun, and you can hire not as educated people because this will fix your spelling errors. But at the end of the day, just even yesterday, they had an article that they're starting to self-replicate already. This is just make sure you protect the data and the structure of the town, because as exciting as this is, we have no idea if it gets corrupted, the damage that can be caused, because everything's connected.
Yeah, and all the stuff that we fed it is public information. We've not.
Yeah, that's the key thing.
Yeah, we've not fed it anything that's not already on our website or is a public
Yes.
document.
There have been different audio, like podcast or audio, text to audio AIs that we've tested. And they're pretty robotic. We found this one to be pretty accurate. And when you listen to it and you think about it being a robot speaking and the inflection in the words and when they take a breath, and it's pretty darn realistic, which makes it fun. But you're right, Sandra, it's fun, and it's going to be like Facebook. I remember my Facebook account when I first started. I was so excited I could connect with my cousins and see what their kids were doing, and everybody was posting that, and now it's so much negativity. So it's only a matter of time before the world figures out, and they already have. They'll always be a step ahead of the rest of us how to negatively use
and hacking in.
these things.
So you've got these people that seem to hack into everything to manipulate.
That's usually on the user. It's not the people that hack, because they're getting in because you're allowing them.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah. So that,
Not that I'm
you know, as far
defending
as the
Hannah.
security systems and stuff to protect your integrity and such.
So all that's working on that. This is like when I first got into AI, it was because of like making images. This was years ago, just playing around with that. So this one will create images for you. So I just typed in make a promotional poster for the Turn of Hannah. There's settings here of what size you would like to make it, and you can import. Again, I put very basic things in here, but the more information you give it, the more it will give you what you want.
And that's under the notebook LN.
No, this is a different website called Ideogram. There's lots of AI generation pictures, but this one does really good with text. Like early days of AI, they struggle with text. If you saw early images of AI, they struggle with hands and fingers. There used to be like 10 fingers on each hand. So just by that simple text, look, it's even got our websites. It's obviously search the web.
The picture isn't quite accurate.
Yeah. But again, I didn't feed it any other information. I just said make a promotional poster for
There's a Hanna in the States too.
probably.
Yeah. That's,
It's interesting though, on that first one with the URL, that it pulled, it knew that you wanted our website, but it's also branding it the way that we were previous to our branding. So it's found that somehow like in the all capital letters. That's old with the www. Now we have all lowercase and it's just Hanna.ca, all lowercase.
Yeah.
Previously, it was with the www and the all caps. So that's really interesting to me that it's pulling that from somewhere,
So I
finding
think
the right place.
for us users, I think we've only used this for the graphic on the podcast. I don't think we've used it on Facebook or our website, but
that's the mountain in the background of the country.
Yeah, but you can modify that, and that's what I did with the podcast one is, okay, so this is what it gave me, and then I said, make it like the couple are sitting in front of a plate glass window with a gray background, with cow grazing, blah, blah, blah. I got a few red cows, had to refine it some more, ran out of free credits, changed the colors of their
yeah,
shirts.
they kind of limit you on stuff like this. Like I think they give you 10 credits every day. So
So what is the cost then?
We've just been using the free
Free.
versions, except for the chat GPT can't do what we've been doing with it without paying.
but if you wanted to
The little icon top right too, that Copilot is pretty powerful as well. It's Microsoft's version of it.
I need
Right.
to
You can do
learn
the
more
same
about
thing.
it, because we don't, there's an unpaid and a paid.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
there's
know.
like 6 different versions.
Yeah,
So
we're not paying
our
for it. It's
podcast is
super
ready.
expensive.
So I give it this website from this page from our website, and it's created a podcast based on that website.
Welcome to our deep dive today.
It's 20 minutes.
We're going to be taking a look at the town of Hanna, Alberta.
Okay.
You might be surprised to learn we're doing it all through their official website. Now I know what you're thinking.
Right.
Government websites.
Yeah.
How exciting can that be? But trust me, this one is full of some interesting tidbits.
Okay.
For starters,
Yeah.
did you know they allow urban chickens in Hanna?
Chickens.
So that's why you have to go and
Yeah.
Fascinating detail. It's just that they're open to blending rural and urban living in a way that a lot of towns wouldn't consider.
It's interesting because I think that
So
page
we're
is hidden.
yeah.
Their mayor, Danny Bubachuk,
Okay.
posts these updates that are more engaging than your typical town announcements. But before we get into those,
Yeah.
maybe we can start with the bigger picture.
Sure.
What's the scope of a municipal government like Hanna's?
So municipal governments are the level of government closest to you. Things that impact your daily life in a very direct way.
Can you bring up
Garbage
the website while
collection,
there's
water, roads,
follow along
parks,
what they're saying.
even things like libraries.
So the things we often take for granted.
Exactly.
And looking at Hanna's website,
Yeah.
they do cover a wide range of those services.
Uh-huh.
Utilities, permits, community programs, business support, it's all there.
Okay.
They even have a whole section on their Pioneer Village Museum,
Interesting.
which hints at, a rich local history.
Yeah, what's interesting
So
is how
just
these
search the whole
details give
website
us a
then.
glimpse into
Yeah,
Hannah's
this is
priorities.
Okay.
They're clearly promoting a sense of community and connection to their history,
Yeah,
but they're also focused on providing those, really practical services for residents.
right. Speaking of practical services, let's dive into Mayor Bubachuk's message from May.
So they're
about
pulling.
taxes.
All right.
He starts off with some good news. Despite rising costs, the municipal tax rate is actually going down
Oh,
for both residents and businesses.
okay.
But there's a catch.
There's always a catch with taxes there.
Of course, if your property value went up significantly,
Yeah,
you might still end up paying more in taxes overall.
right.
The mayor explains it as a balancing act.
Uh-huh.
They've managed to keep the total tax revenue increase under 3%
Okay.
compared to the previous year.
That's a common tightrope walk for local governments.
Yeah.
Trying to balance those necessary services with affordability.
Right.
So it's very
The
conversational.
interesting thing here is,
Like the one that we just posted, it had some inaccuracies in it, so I had to put it in another program, edit that bit out, and then upload it up. So we can't just churn it out and make it public because there's,
So you just can't kick it in the butt.
yeah. So I pulled out about 20 seconds worth of content, but it's very conversational. Unless you knew it was AI, you'd think it was two real people chatting away.
It's the same as the ones that are seen in the actual video itself. The same voices, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't change the voices, and they say maybe in the future you can try, we'll add more things, but we can just go in and change the text.
Adding an English accent.
Maybe. I might get tired of that.
Is the long-term goal of AI so that we don't have to have people in place? We don't have to have this building, we don't have to have this structure.
No.
We can have
The AI council.
one
The job is
room,
learning how to prompt it properly. That's.
It's like,
right?
some people say this is like a cheat using AI, but I think if you go back 30 years or 40 years, when people went from doing our finances here and they were doing them on paper,
Right.
and then Excel came along, probably people thought that's a cheat. You get an Excel to do all these calculations for you. And before that, people all used an abacus and they probably thought a calculator was cheating. So like technology, it's important that, we ride that wave and we.
Well, the other interesting thing with AI is it takes emotion takes emotion and human almost out of it. So if Matthew was replying to outside of the property, like hypothetically speaking, he can actually go in and it takes out all the emotion out of it, and it's just a very generic statement almost.
And AI is trained to be nice, so whenever you give it something, it's going to be nice. Then you would have to edit it depending on how nice you want it to be with it.
Be very sarcastic.
Yeah, they can do that. Given if you put the right prompts in, it can change its personality of a response. You just have to know the right prompts to give it to do that.
So as this is taking time away from staff, then it's just a matter of trying to find other things for the staff to do. Like they could be doing more on whatever, that had not been.
Yeah, I think there's always stuff for staff to do, right? It makes them more efficient and it gives us, especially communicating with, could you imagine if Winona and Laurie had to sit down and create a podcast on their own, a real one?
Yeah.
How much time
For
prepping
sure,
and stuff that would take them to do?
And I'm not going towards staff reduction. I'm just saying that it would give them more opportunities to get more, like doing more stuff.
Yeah, it would save them time if they had to respond to
more
like
efficient,
an angry resident, that they had to craft sometimes you have to bite your tongue when you're replying, right? So I can resolve that issue for you, right? So but yeah, those are the main things that we use AI for, like the setting up that knowledge base so it can answer questions, the podcast, and a little bit for the images, not much.
It's cool and it's scary all in one.
Yeah, and there's new things now that I've seen videos of where you can give it a task and you can watch it research on the internet and gather information, and it will open up Excel and create an Excel document for you. And so it's moving rapidly. And
Well, I guess that's the thing is if you're not involved in it now in the development phase, you're gonna be much so far behind.
Yeah.
If it does become something that is competitive for business and such.
Well, even the technology, like with this DeepSeek that got kicked off on Monday or whatever it was, is knock the crap out of the American version of AI, and it's a far cheaper version of it. So it's evolving continuously. Like, I can't remember what the number was. It was like $14 billion hit to the US economy when DeepSeek launched their version of AI. And it's just, and then there was a report last night, how it basically, through necessity, because the creators in the States wouldn't share some of the information with the Chinese people. And so through necessity, Chinese people come up and built their own version of it, and it appears to be better and cheaper. So it's interesting how it evolves. And that's in a matter of 3-4 months. Any more questions on AI? There's lots. Sorry.
Just ask them if there's anything.
I think, for myself, I think it's a great thing. I think it's something we need to carry on cautiously and not dive into it head first and get into the bottom of the barrel before we get there. So
yeah, one of the things I've been working on is because I've seen that in the States, there's a few municipalities that are using, and I think Edmonton as well, where they've created an AI policy for the municipality. So I've looked what kind of stuff they put in there, and AV Munis has a section on their website. If you're going to create a policy, this is what you should put in it. So I'll probably bring that to next council meeting, that we have an official. And it's just what I said earlier, that no non-public information is used. That we acknowledge if we put anything out there that it is AI generated, like the podcast, or even if we used an image on Facebook, we would say this was AI generated.
And that's the standard basically for anything that you take off of somebody else's, you kind of reference it or.
Yeah,
it's in the copyright.
yeah. We just don't want to mislead people,
Thank you. Interesting.
Next, disposition of the 2006 wheelchair accessible handyman.
Yeah, I think you all know we got that new handy van, and the old one in the past, I guess it was donations towards the old one. So we just wanted to see what council's thoughts were if we should pass that on. If someone donated to us, there might be a smaller municipality or a user group that is in need of something that we could donate it to them just to pass it along.
So I had just this thought, and somebody else did mention this too, and I'm not sure how this works, but the round Hanna bus that does the local loop, yeah. That's privately owned, right? Is that correct? It's your.
Yeah, it's my bus.
So would that be something we could use for that, to support that?
Could be used there, where it could be used for there. The loop is only on Wednesday. But this town needs a cab. Every day, the town won't subsidize anything, and you can't afford the insurance. You'd have to charge $45 a trip to go across town.
To cover the insurance.
And you wouldn't have no customers, so you can't do it. Right? Your hands are tied, you can't, there's nobody that's stupid, I hope. Start a taxi business, and basically all you're doing is doing it for nothing, costing you money.
So because there is measures in place to do the Hanna loop, can those measures not be instated on a broader range on more days and use that other bus that we have, because we have it?
And how's the insurance for that?
We'll have
Too
to work
expensive
for
to
that.
have.
Insurance, the town would have to have the insurance, because you can't afford the insurance. That's what
But the
it
town's
said.
not paying the insurance on the local loop bus.
Yeah.
So somehow that's obviously generating a profit and somehow the loop is operating. So how?
It's a big
It's
check.
working around a government
Cab
grant.
Yeah.
like almost entirely.
It's just a trial basis for 18 months. And, if it grows or if it proves that it can be, it's being utilized, then it'll continue on.
But the insurance that you have on your vehicle that you're using on the Wednesdays is not taxi insurance.
It's, yes, it is.
It is.
$7,900 a year.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Paid through
It's not-
tax.
and to do a van, like a caravan, it's 4,800. It was 4,800 5 years ago.
Well, we looked at it years ago, yeah, it was almost $6,000. Yeah. When I just chose a 15-year-old
Would sue the town and put that insurance, that vehicle on their insurance policy probably for $100 a year. You know, or 200 or whatever. But I mean,
Is there any driver at any time?
If it's not used as like right now, the handyman is just over $5,000 for insurance in the year.
And nobody's profiting off of it.
It won't be much different.
no,
I don't-
same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, excuse me, I just had this thought that because it was in our possession already and we had this particular entity happening, maybe we could expand upon it with the resources we had. So I wasn't sure how that all.
It could be
equated to-
utilized that way. Like, I mean, yeah, that's a good spot. And then what they could do is they'd have to hire somebody or whatever to run it from 8 in the morning until. But see, that's the other thing. A cab you don't really need from 8 to 5, or a lot of people don't need. They like it at 6 to, you know, to midnight or 3 o'clock in the morning, you know. But so,
That's a different clientele, right?
oh yeah.
The ones who need it during the day, it's medical necessity, right? Groceries, the people who have real trouble getting around. And the evening people is a completely different, that's the, I'll work on tips, that'll work just fine, because it's a different mindset, right? And a different economic.
How does Uber work? Does they have to pay the same kind of insurance, or is that covered by
Uber covers it,
Uber covers it?
that's why it's been.
We were too small to get attention from Uber.
Yeah.
Community.
Right.
But there's a few there's left in Burn.
The Happy Drive, yeah. I'm saying, but yeah, that's different. If it could utilize that, maybe somehow, if we had some.
The drive happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the vehicle is the issue with drive happiness.
I would imagine it'd be the
I assume it was the people.
It's the people,
Yeah.
the drivers.
Yeah.
Well, in the same thing, if we were to use that van, then we get into licensing as far as the driver. If we licensing as a taxi, then we have to have a class 4 constable.
Yeah.
And so then you're very limited as to who can operate or drive the vehicle as providing a public service.
And it would never, you would never pay for it, so, you know, like, I mean, that's why you're not a private business. Yeah, tree insurance, upkeep, and everything else on it. You know, and this, the insurance is your, you know.
It's the big-
Well, I guess what a local entrepreneur would have to do is present a proposal to the town. Requesting assistance for subsidies and bring it to us.
So
Let
we
us
did
talk
that.
about it.
I guess it would have been 4 years ago now when we did that, and just legit did an RFP for proposals. And.
For public
Yeah,
transportation.
and with the idea that, yes, if you want something, then you ask for it.
Yeah.
If $3,000 a year, just straight up, and they have this plan for people to usually pay for it, but it was nothing. It's so expensive. And as much as it's needed, it's not a high quantity of need.
Yeah.
In the winter time, you start your vehicle half an hour before you go pick the person up. You burn more fuel when you make.
Absolutely.
But never mind covering wages or anything.
Yeah, you know, like in the wear and tear on a vehicle, you know, starting, stopping.
And going, they're not clean when they're, well, I shouldn't say, some people aren't very courteous towards the vehicle either, so.
Yeah.
I know in Bonneville, because I was up there for a month, it's a $10 flat rate anywhere within town limits. And we talked, of course, I got 2 or 3 different cabs that we talked to, and And they're struggling up there. Well, same thing, they've got two cab companies from Colonial, 7,500 people and a very large rural draw as well. And, tried the two different cab companies for this reason. And they said it doesn't even pay. Like the one guy said he's a lease operator to the one cab company and he said, I'm done. He said, I thought there was all kinds of money in this. There's nothing. So what we did in Elk Point years ago with our ambulance service, and this could follow along the same lines, was the ambulance service in Elk Point was struggling. We didn't have enough volume for them to keep going. It was a private individual running it. And what we did there was Fred come down and said, okay, I need $28,000 a month to break even. That's with insurance and drivers and standby and so on and so forth. And what he ended up doing for the town of Elk Point was basically showing us his books, and based on a 3-month cycle, if he was, hypothetically speaking, he was 25,000, well, we give him 3,000 for that month. And the next month, if he was 22,000, we had to top him up 6,000, and so on and so forth. But in that 3-month cycle, if he made money, then he also paid it back. So I don't know, is that something similar when you looked at Kyle years ago?
We looked at anything, everything.
Okay,
We
no,
left
I
out
just,
to people and there was a couple that come in and we just throw any ideas.
yeah,
And it's just so expensive. And when you're a ride every 3 days, it's
Yeah.
pretty tough to turn a profit unless you're gonna charge $250.
Yeah.
Which of course is not.
See, like the long-term care and the lodge, they have a handy bus each. And the lodge also has a caravan that they charge $10 a trip for any resident that wants to use it. But the staff, I don't think, is willing, or however you want to say it, to maybe do this kind of work,
well, maybe in fairness, Councilor Cole, they probably don't have somebody designated to do that.
They don't.
So therefore, you're pulling somebody from the kitchen or from housekeeping or,
Well, no, they have a department that's licensed to drive the handy bus and whatever. And I think like the caravan, I'm sure anybody can drive it, but it's, and I know when I worked at the hospital, I used their little handy bus or van more than, probably did in that ambulance.
But no, the shuttle at the lodge and sit there for months.
Yeah, they don't ever, they don't utilize it.
They don't use it.
Like I've had requests to take them to a casino or to a play, like a dinner theater in the Rose Bar, whatever, but you're not supposed to solicit at the lodge, so I didn't do anything. Like the little handy bus should be, I think, kept in town and should be utilized, but how do you do it? Who's gonna run it? Who's gonna do it,
And just maintaining the insurance on it, is costly as well as, the whole idea of
What's
replacing
the
it.
word?
It's the value of it.
15 grand.
I can't remember what Brent said, but I think Brent had it. I don't even think it was that much.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
with the lift and everything, and I was thinking it's
Well, it's always got a ramp.
it just has a ramp, okay.
Yeah, I think Brent said that would have like a 2-year lifespan. Like he didn't think it was gonna last much longer than 2 years.
See, and then that's another one there. Because it'd have to be inspected, the restraints have to be inspected,
Yeah, and I think even if we did that service, maybe after 2 years, we'd have to, if that vehicle's running sly,
But update it.
then you've got to mean the cost of replacing that.
Would that be useful for the Hanna Senior Circle?
they don't use the loop.
You know,
They don't, eh? Really?
No, because a lot of times it's word of mouth for family, it grabs a lot of them around.
So my personal opinion is that we, to pay it forward, maybe to a community that needs it. I'm not sure who will do the assessment of need versus not, but I don't think we need to add more vehicles to our fleet that aren't going to be utilized.
But I think it'd be remiss of us not to offer it to local first. I mean, I don't know who local, but I think, you know, first and foremost, I think we should offer it to a local, even if a local organization decides they do want to use it or utilize it. I think it was donated. I think it would be upon us to
To an organization, not an individual.
Yeah.
Like a nonprofit.
Yeah, and that's easy to put it out there.
I think Michelle would have contacts. I think she would be a good person to put that out.
yeah, and just see, you know, if there is somebody out there within the community. I mean, I don't know if anybody, and I'm not hearing of anybody around the table, but that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody out there.
Like, Slopes is the one that's, got the local loop.
Yes.
Yeah.
They like the town, you know, there's quite a few that's, sponsoring it and whatever. So, they may say, Michelle's involved with them. But, whether, you know, I think that would probably be the stronger point to go to.
Or just
That
put
would
it
be
out
one
there.
of, that would be one of her
Yeah.
contacts, one of her many contacts.
So yeah, just put it out there, and if anybody's interested, they just come forward, and then at least you've got, you know, you've made the initial contact for anybody that might be interested. See what comes in and take it from there.
We can bring that back to council in
Yeah.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Proposed solar farm and related land use bylaw updates.
So now the fun stuff. So again, this is just to get feedback from council, what they're looking to do. We also have that, you've seen that letter from Janine. She's looking for information from council to provide addresses of properties that they own that are within that boundary or family members. She's concerned that if we don't acknowledge where there could be a conflict, that when we go to the hearing, that could backfire on us. So she wants to make sure that nothing happens that's gonna impede our cause at the AUC. So identifying where maybe council members may have a conflict is what she wants to do. You know, there is, you know, addressing if council wants to go ahead with changing the land use bylaw. And yeah, those are two big topics.
So you're saying that I have to leave this room?
Yeah,
No.
me too.
Not,
Me
well,
too.
not
Yeah.
at the discretion level, like
No,
it,
actually, if you read through,
It says
sorry for interrupting, it
discussion.
says
No discussion on it.
no discussion, because then I will be privy to privileged information that may not be available to me. So,
Well, and all of this is based on perceived, you know, whether there is a pecuniary interest or not. We do own land. We bought it in May of 2011. And so, you know, the fact that it hasn't been developed to this point, you know, really, we're probably looking at losing money on it. Should we do anything with it? But this is perceived. You know, I was voted as a counselor into this position to reflect the word of the residents. And have we not heard from, you know, the development on the west side of our town? Are we not learning anything as to what, you know, so we're trying to do something and we're supposedly at risk of being perceived to do something or have something that is not there. Like prove that we would be benefiting
but
from.
the Municipal Government Act is the other thing we swore to, that we will abide by the Municipal Government Act, which clearly states.
I realize.
So because of that, to protect you, actually.
Yeah, I realize
Yeah,
that. Well, it's a conflict,
And that's why we're paying Janine a lot of money to look out for our interests, to fight this and look out for our interests. If she doesn't want anything coming up that's going to look badly on us, that there's a conflict, and that's why she wants that information, because she wants to have assessments done on the properties that council or close council family members have, and then see what kind of impact. And she said it might come back that there's no impact, but she has to do her work, and that's what we've hired her to do, is to provide the experts, to look out for our best interest, and to fight this, and this is what she's doing. So
So I believe that is why when it was asked whether or not we wanted to form a group or have the CAO work on behalf, that is where I had chose, so that I was not involved in that sort of thing. And if we were to have everyone that may have a perceived pecuniary interest leave the room, will we have quorum to vote on anything? Probably not.
yeah, I don't have all your details, so I think there would still be a few that.
Well,
It only leaves like 3 of us. that are allowed to
3 out of
participate in
7,
discussion.
so we don't have quorum.
So I guess just the definition, even with that whole pecuniary interest,
Well-
it requires, financial interest or investment. But my understanding in the governance level is you are allowed to be at the table for the discussion. It's the voting power. When it comes to the voting, you can be at the table for the discussion, be included in the discussion, but you have to recuse yourself in the voting position of that. And it's like anything.
Not if it's in closed session. Because that's privileged information. And nobody with a pecuniary interest perceived can be involved in privileged information. So that's how I read it.
So a closed,
Closed session.
So
In camera.
yes, I know what a closed, but I'm just saying, so when are we making decisions in a closed session?
We don't.
You're not, you're getting information that's not privy to anybody outside the room.
So we're saying what our lawyers are providing for us.
Mhm. We cannot, I shouldn't be in the room and I will recuse myself. Whatever
And those-
people do, they can do whatever they want. I will recuse myself because the Municipal Government Act states that I have to. And whether or not I was elected, that's the law. And if I don't abide by the law, then we shouldn't be here. So I will be recusing
Well,
myself.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
I'll be recusing myself as well.
Yeah.
So
Generally, an elected official who has a pecuniary interest cannot participate in discussions on that topic, according to the MGA.
That's right.
This is Matthew's.
But I
Resource I've been asking.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah.
So, but that's how I interpret it. So I will.
I think Janine's biggest thing is if council who may have a perceived conflict of interest with their land, go ahead and vote on amending the land use bylaw, which it seems that they're doing to protect their personal interests and not the interest of the municipality. That's Janine's take on it. And that may be the take of AUC, that may be the take of Pay. So she's trying to protect us from being put in that position of not, that they're finding something that fight us on. She wants us to come in clean with our best fight.
and to have it used against us and
Yeah, to say that, well, 4 of the councillors have financial interest involved and they voted to change the land use bylaw.
well, we don't.
What financial gain are they gonna, I mean, when I look at the financial interest or investments,
Yeah.
that in
Learn it,
itself,
please.
yeah, would be interesting to see what their financial gain is.
And who is claiming this? Do they have access to our information? Like, anyways, yeah, I would be reclusing. My husband and I purchased land, May of 2011, and it is directly across from Grant. And at the time, it's been sitting. And we're using it because it's an open space with future plans. So I will be recusing myself from any further discussion. And then the onus is on everybody else to understand.
I'll scroll.
Well, I was elected for the people by the people, right? If I can't express my opinions, I'm stepping out. I'll leave the room and I'll leave the room for good. I just want that public knowledge. I mean,
I think council made it clear what their stand is. It's no,
there's no power. With 2 people, there's no power.
what we're paying Janine to do, like that's our best thing. We're not paying some backstreet lawyer. We're paying one of the best at representing municipalities in the province. You know, we've got them on our side fighting our case.
So what does she have for a track history? What other community has she served, or what has she accomplished?
She's been on, like, I can't remember the name of the municipality, but she worked with another municipality, but they wanted the thing done. So she made everything run smoothly, that all their commitments were met that town wanted. So, and I think this is her key area that she works, that she doesn't work in different kinds of legal, but, you know.
She's their senior legal person.
Yeah. So, you know, for specific background, you know, council directed staff to engage with legal help to do this, and we've got the best, and they've recruited engineers and experts to fight our cause. And I think what she said at that last meeting, we have a really good case, you know.
To fight it.
Yeah, with what she.
That land use bylaw amendment, when several other communities have the exact same thing. Like, we're not the first to push this.
The MGA says that they see the override, whatever.
Yeah.
Says we can
Yeah.
put Dave through the pleasure of doing all that again, which I think he enjoyed the last time he had to do it. But
Yeah, I enjoy putting through that.
yeah.
He enjoyed it tremendously.
But like, we can put all that work and effort into doing it, and we can do it, but AUC will, we're not interested in it.
Yeah, the whole thing is, they'll look at it as, why wasn't it there before
Yeah.
this one all?
Because we've never dealt with it.
Well, we never had the
Yeah,
experience before.
Things don't exist until you have to deal with it, and that's why there was no land use bylaw amendment before there was anybody building houses either.
Yeah, but this is what they'll look at is.
Yeah.
Or being proactive, maybe they, but anyways,
So that could be moved by a motion if somebody brings that motion to the table.
but we won't be able to vote
Not
on
an
it.
info session.
No, an info session.
That's,
But we can bring stuff back to.
the council.
so then I have another question with a motion such as that, if how many 6 counselors and 3 have to recuse themselves from the voting power of such a motion, you have 3 left at the table. And so we still, it would be the best of the 3 then, right? Those that are able to.
Your shop is fine if you're not considered in that.
I don't believe so.
But you were the only one that voted in favor of this, so.
Correct.
So just the fact of perception,
It's still a decision of council. I support the decision of council.
It is definitely just.
Yeah, you've certainly never said anything otherwise.
We're entitled, we're all entitled to our feelings and our opinions. But the decision of council was to go ahead with this process, and we've done that. I have done nothing other than support the decision of council. So I don't know what you're looking for.
It is actually our fiduciary duty. If a motion is passed, that is our fiduciary duty to present ourselves in a position to support the motion that has passed, so that if there's any motions that are made
Yeah, and
outside of that, we can feel or think or say whatever we want. But if the motion is passed, then it is absolutely 100% our fiduciary duty to support those motions. Even if we don't support them, we still have to support them.
but if we're getting a consultation or, you know, I'm saying the other side as well, if we're getting instructions from, or strong recommendations from the lawyer that we are, have retained to perhaps wait, then it's kind of like a slap in their face when they're doing their best to represent us in their experience with this situation. So I don't know what to do. I guess, like, I'm not an expert for sure. Obviously. I think I will just leave it to the CIO's decision to act on my behalf.
But like maybe before everyone leaves today, we can get those addresses of properties that you're within that 800 meter.
Yeah, I gave you mine.
So we can get that to Janine.
She already has mine. She mailed it all over there.
I do.
He just screamed several times.
You're going on.
Yeah.
And this list does define exactly, I went through every single name. And I could probably tell you exactly who has to withdraw and who doesn't, but it has a comprehensive schedule. There was one error on this, from what I understand, but this will define exactly where you sit within the parameters. Yeah. And it was, number 184. This is on that was probably not in rightful standing, but I didn't know. Oh, yeah. So if anybody needs to look at this to define whether they're within that proximity, they are free to take a look at this today.
We've all got with number 184.
Pardon?
Did you say there's a problem with number 184? There's an error.
There's an error. Yeah, that's correct. None of my family nor myself are within that jurisdiction, so I'm free. I'm outside the boundary and
Who introduced this green energy to the town? When did this all start?
Oh, Pace was going all over the province looking at stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Like they
When was
talked to
it introduced
landowners.
to Hanna?
So originally Pace had come to town. And there was an individual that had some property on the northwest corner of town within town limits as well. And they were approached about this project. And that individual turned it down. And then they went to the property where they're at now. But I don't think anyone actually physically went out and said, hey, come to Hanna.
Possibly the landowner.
Possibly. Like I said, but the original one was a Pace approach to landowner. Councilor Bowden?
Well, and I think we've all heard from Pace that there is, well, eventually we heard finally maybe the truth that there is no other community in North America in the situation that we're in with our airport.
Discuss that today.
So that is a concern that they're fighting it for reasons for their benefit, where we will.
Okay, so I think what we
Yeah.
need to do is get back on schedule. Do we want Matthew to look at the setback regulations in more depth than what we have right now?
I'd like to see something that way, but I'm also torn that we won't get it done in time anyways. Because the development permit happened like before the hearing.
After.
Okay, yeah, and the hearing is quite unknown at the time too.
I can't remember the dates.
March 5th.
Was it March 5th? No, because I remember it was February 8th originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's March 3rd or 5th or something.
5th and 6th, I believe, is when, I think the town is either the 5th or 6th, I believe, of March.
Yeah, by the time we get this all set,
Well,
it takes 3 months.
and there is no way it will be approved ahead of time. It's just, to start the process. But, whether it's worth the time and energy.
You're gonna whole day from other responsibilities to do something that maybe pays, but not pays. They usually, it's your word, the MGA says the same thing. We're just we're just creating extra work today to do.
Does ever thank us for that yet?
Increase.
So I think what I'm hearing from Matthew, the recommendation is that we, if we are going to redo the land use bylaw, do we got at our pace, not that terminology, on our timeline, instead of rushing through it and trying to get it done for the purpose of this project. Due to the fact that, I mean, no, the AUC is going to run with whatever they have now, so instead of having our land use bylaw review immediately, just leave it as is. Okay. It's a very contentious item, for lack of a better term. Okay, proposed amendments to 1035-24 animal service animal provisions.
So this comes up because a resident got in touch with me and said that they have service dogs, and in the past they hadn't had to pay for a service dog license fee. And they didn't see that in the new bylaw where it said that this wasn't included. So the new bylaw was based on the previous attempts at redoing it, and there was some confusion that thought that it was province-wide, that service dogs didn't have to pay. So that's why it was left out, but it's then each municipality to set that fee. So it's just to see what council's interest is. Like, we can just no charge for service animals. I'll add an amendment to the existing bylaw that says.
So is there any documentation that it is a service dog, or?
Has to be.
No, that's what I'm asking, like, because I mean, if you
I
don't,
know.
every dog in the country.
My chicken is a service. People go on there.
Counselor Kroll.
My little company, he's got a passport.
Yeah.
It says all his stuff in there. So.
Right, I'm,
But there is, like, and they have to have.
that's what my understanding, but I just
They
want
have to be
clarification.
trained.
Yeah.
In California, you just have to love them and you can get it.
Support dog.
But I have had my hide torn off several times over the $150 a year.
Yeah.
We have to reduce that.
Why is it a problem to encourage people to get their kid or their kids? Their dog fixed? Why is that a problem? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, that's been a worldwide goal. That's a town goal for a long time, to encourage that. And if somebody says, oh, my dog is sterile already, that's fine. And you don't need a procedure with evidence that that's a thing. If you're choosing to breed dogs, that's
So
what you're
there's that undercurrent of people who get information that doesn't necessarily agree with the rest of the world. And one of them is that your dog will live longer, your cat will live longer if you don't get them fixed. If my cat hadn't have been fixed, I wouldn't have a cat anymore, because I would have killed her by now, because she'd be spraying everywhere. It would just be awful. But that's their logic. But even the regular fee, how much is it for what we're gonna do for the spayed and neutered?
30 or 30.
Okay.
Exactly.
It was the other one, yeah.
Or then we had some guys who complained about that lifetime. I said,
I know it's
it's
lifetime.
up to you. Yeah, what happens if he dies within?
His lifetime is over.
Yeah, don't gamble then.
Yeah, you get a different dog and buy it.
No, you can't.
No, I don't.
What about the thinking that a dog is a dog, regardless if it is a service dog or not?
Well, a service dog is a necessity.
No, I know
or
that,
dog is
but
a
it's
pet.
it's still a dog, and really, there are problems. Everybody knows that a pet is very supportive emotionally and everything else, that every dog could be seen as I know it's gonna be like have the documentation and everything else, but if somebody comes back and say, well, yeah, it's still a dog at the end of the day,
I don't think that's a slope we want to travel down myself. I mean, if it's a service dog and I'm coming to the point where I'm going to probably need a service dog against my wife's best interest. But I mean, I would have no problem either or, but I just say for a person that needs a service dog to travel, I don't think you want to penalize that individual. It's like a handicap stick, basically, in my opinion. And it's a rude thing to say, but I don't think I'm that far from me, you know.
That's what I've seen your wounds.
Sounds like pecuniary interest.
At this current time, I still don't need it, so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Service dogs are differently defined.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Well, then that's fine. That's what it's for, is discussion, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
It does say service animal.
I know it's a service animal. That's why I said the chicken.
Okay, so your action is, Matthew will bring this back to our meeting on next Tuesday after.
Tuesday after.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion?
So we're in roundtable now?
Yes.
I do have, something to kind of somewhat announce that, Alberta Air Tours contacted, was in discussion with a local resident and gave them my name. And, so what this group does is they travel around, the province promoting, aeronautics and, a small plane piloting and that sort of thing. So they are, asked if we would be interested in having them come to Hanna. They have about 40 planes that will land. And then the public is invited to come in and to go through their planes. They're promoting flying, and they're trying, I believe, they're educating on the benefits and to community as well as youth. And it sounds very exciting. And so discussion, this information has been brought forward to our CAO and to the president of the Hanna Flying Club, and they are very supportive of it. And there was a video that was shared that I could send to everybody, that I'm sorry I didn't before, but and shows you their sort of visit to the old Didsbury Airport. And so what they've had in the past is things that are brought to the airport to support it. For example, maybe we could look at inviting our other emergency responders, like the fire department, the police department, to have the public come and look at their equipment as well. Not saying that these planes will be emergency responders, but it's just another avenue to attract other and get more education out there. I would like to be inviting the school and the school division to have the students come out and look at it. I believe there are flying lessons, I believe, at the Hanna airport to a certain extent, and maybe that could grow, as well as the flying club could have information there as well. So we're looking at another asking is that we feed the pilots. So looking at potential for a barbecue and maybe a mini market or whatever interested parties might want to have as an event in our community. So they're only here we're looking at June 21st from 2 to 5. And they will look after all the landing. They'll work with the flying club regarding the landing and parking and that sort of thing. They figure about an hour for all the pilots and planes to land. And then afterwards they take off. And so it sounds like quite an interesting thing. So if you want to go on their website, it's called Alberta Air Tours, and they're all pilots. Well, obviously they're all pilots. Sorry about that. but they enjoy getting out there and coming to different communities and celebrating what they have to offer and sharing their experiences with the public.
It's like the car show. They have such pride.
Gosh, yeah.
That would be
Well,
fun.
I recall seeing these fly-in pancake
We used
breakfast.
to have them years ago,
Because
yeah.
I don't know, I just, that immediately popped into my head was a fly-in pancake breakfast, and
Yeah.
I don't know where I've seen it before, but I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why we couldn't do a fly-in barbecue or an afternoon. With the time frame, it might be tough to get the school involved, but we definitely ask them if they would like to.
Well, that's the thing, putting it out there, and if they want to participate,
Perhaps
perhaps,
a Saturday.
I think it's a Saturday.
Okay.
Provided, well, and perhaps there is some other educational, and perhaps there is maybe one of the colleges that provides flying lessons or is a
Yeah.
flying school or whatever. We could invite them and give them the option to come out or use maybe one of our local. Well, it is, yeah.
Markets, we could have.
Well, yeah, for
Like we
that
did
period,
downtown.
and maybe have it, from noon till whatever, in anticipation of the,
planes.
plane,
Yeah.
everybody being able to see the planes land and take off, and they're a very organized group, and they've been doing it for some time. So,
That's
I
cool.
like it.
I'm very quite pleased that we were approached, and it's thanks to a small business, entrepreneur that lives outside on the edge of our community. So,
Very cool.
yeah. So I'm excited about that. And so I'll be working with them to try and get the word out and promote and put our airport in the public light.
Yep.
And a nice positive thing for our community.
Just a question, a few years back, it's quite a few, probably 9, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. They had a similar event here in town with one of the youth programs that they had going on. And they went to the airport, and they actually, because I remember my daughter at that time, actually got to fly one of the aircraft.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if it's the same organization.
it
No, it's just a flight club.
Oh, was it? Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no, this is province wide. And so what they'll be doing is they'll be starting in Wainwright and then going to Killam and then coming to us.
Okay.
So there's 3 in the day that they are going around and sharing their information and experience and giving us the opportunity to
Yeah, no.
attract people to our community. So yeah, I'm thrilled.
Peggy Rehill coordinates the youth club.
Mhm.
That
So
would
the
be,
youth club, why not? Yeah.
yeah. Let
So
her
some
know,
more
maybe.
people, but I'll be putting posters out.
It's actually Neil Arabino.
Is that Neil now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Peggy stepped out.
Yeah.
Don't know that Peggy not doing something. I'll tell you.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anything else? Councilor Cole?
Vets Memorial Highway Association will have a meeting this Friday. It's changed to February the 7th. Then it was changed to the 21st. And now it's on the 28th.
Councilor?
January or February?
February.
Yeah, because we're already on the 28th.
Yeah, I thought you said this Friday. Sorry.
Time travel.
Right.
Okay, hearing nothing else, we would like to adjourn at 9:50 PM, AM. Whoa. Time travel, yeah.
I'll do my roof.
So what did you get for it? Are we off now, Laura?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where I said it right there.